Hey guys, this is Callum from EnglishShooting, and I was going to be outside today doing an introduction to air rifle shooting video, but because it's absolutely pissing it down, I'm confined indoors, so I thought I would cover a topic that I was giving clarification to somebody earlier today, and that was on the additional rules and regulations and potential hoops you're going to have to jump through to take part in the 3-gun, multi-gun and practical shooting disciplines within the UK. Because it's quite a in-depth topic and there are additional restrictions in place versus other disciplines within the UK, I thought I'd cover it to try and make it as easy to understand and maybe even encourage some people to actually take it up, because it's not that difficult. You've just got to understand the ins and outs. Most people will know that with 3-gun out in the US, you're going to use an AR-15, usually a tube-fed semi-automatic shotgun and a 9mm magazine-fed pistol. Those are the three that are mainly used, the most popular types of firearms. Of course, there's a huge variety out there. You don't have to go for an AR-15, you don't have to go for a tube-fed, you can go for a box-fed shotgun, you can go for a pump-action shotgun, you can go for revolvers, you don't have to use 9mm, you can use any selection of those guns as you like, but those are the main three popular types. Transferring that over to the UK, instantly you're going to run into problems. Semi-automatic, full bore or centre-fire rifles are heavily restricted in the UK, so that means that for people owning or obtaining a firearm certificate, you can only really use semi-automatic in 2.2 rimfire, and that's why there's so many 2.2 long rifles about in the UK in semi-automatic, and we have a booming industry in them. With shotguns, we're pretty lucky. We can own unrestricted capacity box-fed, tube-fed, pump-action shotguns. We've got those covered. Pretty much anything you can own in the US in terms of shotguns we can own here, bar a few exceptions for like full auto stuff and really small stuff. And then pistols, which we are most restricted on because, well, pistols here, small arms, are section 5. And I use the word small arms because we don't actually have a generic definition of a handgun or a pistol. It's long or short arms, and a short arm is anything that has a barrel under 12 inches or anything that has a total length under 24 inches. So that's what's led to the creation of the long barrel pistol, a pistol that has a 12-inch barrel and a rod to make it over 24 inches in length. And that's why we can have these in 2.2 rimfire as well, because obviously we're restricted to have centre fire semi-automatic stuff, but you can get a pistol in semi-automatic 2.2 rimfire, or you can get a long barrel revolver, again long barrel, a long rod on the end, but you can own it in centre fire calibers because it's not semi-automatic. So that's instantly the difference between US and UK 3-gun multi-gun. But unfortunately, due to some exemptions and stipulations within the Home Office guidance for firearms in the UK, there are additional restrictions on that. Now, the one that gets away with the additional restrictions is the 2.2 semi-automatic rifle. Those can be owned by a club. People can shoot them, share them with friends, with other club members under the right conditions, even if you don't have an FAC. Unfortunately, for long barrel pistols and section 1 unrestricted shotguns, anything that has a capacity over the 2+1 or can be or has a detachable magazine is considered section 1, so you need an FAC for that. But long barrel pistols and section 1 shotguns have additional stipulations and regulations around them. Now, I've got the Home Office guidance here. It is an incredibly boring read, and I've gone through it, I've skimmed through it as much as I can, and the paragraph that you're really interested is this. So I've done you a favour because I fell asleep multiple times reading through this document. Long-barreled revolvers, long-range pistols, section 1 shotguns and full-bore rifles designed or adapted to fire ammunition capable of discharging projectiles at muzzle energies greater than 10,000 foot-pounds may not be borrowed at a range for use by other club members, but there is the exemption for personal use. So if you hold an FAC and you have one of these guns under your FAC, well, you can shoot it. It's legal for you to own. You've got the slot. You can go down the range as long as it's approved for those types of firearms. you can shoot it there, but you cannot let any other person borrow it or share it, unlike Section 2 shotguns or unlike the 2.2 semi-automatic rimfire rifles. So you have to have that gun on your certificate. Only you can shoot it. There are exemptions obviously for RFDs, but for you, only you can shoot it. You can have two people down the range with, two Section 1 shotguns, two people with, Section 1 shotgun each and a long barrel pistol each. Each of those guns can be exactly the same in every single way. They can have, they can be the next one along the line in serial number, identical guns, but if the FAC holder picks up a gun, one of those guns that isn't on his license, he is in violation of the firearms law in the UK. Now, a club actually challenged this. They went to court and they put it in front of a jury and said, look, the only thing there is about, formally defining a firearm is that if it's long or short, and it's long if it has a barrel over 12 inches or a total and a total length over 24 inches, that is a rifle, therefore it comes under the exemption for club ownership and for it to be borrowed and shared. This is a rifle. By legal definition, the only definition there is, it's a rifle. Now, the jury actually sided with the club. They actually went in favour of the firearms owners and the club.
How about that?
And they said, yeah, that is by legal definition a rifle. It should be subject to no further restrictions and therefore can be used as a club gun. Now, that club has that exemption. They can own the long barrel pistols for their members. They're allowed to let them be used by club members under the Home Office exemption for clubs. Happy days. But even though it's been set under a precedent, you would still have to potentially challenge it. And because the counties and the police forces operate so differently from county to county, a different day, a different judge, a different jury, you could get your club in a lot of hot water. So what does this all mean for three-gun shooting in the UK? Well, unfortunately, it means that it's very hard to start, and really throw yourself in straight from the word go. You're going to have to use a club gun if you don't have an FAC, and that restricts you to using a 2.2 rimfire semi-automatic rifle and a Section 2 restricted capacity shotgun. And until you get your FAC, you're not going to be able to unrestrict that shotgun, and you're not going to be able to even shoot a long-barreled pistol. But this is where everybody has started. That's how I started, all my friends started. I did practical shooting down at the Phoenix Shooting Club, Phoenix Shooting Ground, with my over and under, and I walked away every single weekend with a huge smile on my face and loved it so much that I went for that variation. I did have my FAC at the time, but I didn't have a Section 1 shotgun. I didn't have a long barrel pistol under there, so I had to wait numerous months to be able to get the permission to own those firearms. But still, every moment that I had down that range, even with my over and under, I had awesome, super fun. It does get incredibly frustrating. I think three-gun, multi-gun, practical shooting is what we should be shouting from the rooftops about. I hate the comparison between sort of Call of Duty players and practical shooting. It isn't about going out there and being tactical and simulating this or pretending you're that. It's a sport that's very action-packed, it's very dynamic, and I think it appeals to those sorts of people that play those sorts of games. And they want something that's interesting, different every time. You have to react to things, you have to plan things out in your head, and you have a huge amount of fun doing it under sort of stressful, timed conditions. And I really think if we talk about it more, we promote it more, people are going to go, that is cool. Unfortunately, apart from 50 cal shooting in the UK, it's the only one that you can't fully do straight away. You have to sort of start at this two-gun, this sort of amateur division where you can't touch a long barrel pistol. You can only dual load a single load into a shotgun, and you have to borrow that rifle. But once you've got your FAC, once you've got those slots, using a long barrel pistol, using a rimfire semi-automatic rifle, you really don't notice the difference. Yes, when I go out to the States, it's a louder bang. Yeah, it's a bit cooler not having that rod and long barrel, but I still have huge amounts of fun in the UK, and despite the additional restrictions, despite the additional hoops you're going to have to jump through, it's worth it. But I wanted to make this video not to scare anybody off, not to sit here and go, oh, everything's doom and gloom. You just have to be aware of what the boundaries are. You have to be aware of that it's going to take a little bit more time and patience, but it's 100% worth it. Once you've got that FAC, once you're there, you've got the guns you've been waiting so long for, you don't remember the long painful waiting period. You just go out every weekend and you take part in a sport that you enjoy and you love. So there we go, guys. I really hope that covered it all. I went into numerous things there. I hope it was useful. If you have a particular topic that you would like me to cover or a question, put a comment in the comment section below. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and as always, I hope to see you soon.